Okay, so I'm Guru and today we are looking at Level 8, Project 8, Bouncing Animation. Let's look at the project first, the output, and then we'll try to figure out what's happening. This is a simple project, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, there are 8 sprites. And then each square on the screen is a different color, and it, when we start the project, there'll be some music in the background, and then these shapes will bounce and create some patterns on the screen. So what you see is some fun patterns on the screen and a special effect called ghost effect. You see that some of these shapes are disappearing as they're moving. So think of these as clones that are starting off with full fidelity, full shape, and then they are trying to ghost, which is they're disappearing slowly. So there's nothing fancy here, even though the project will take a little bit of time for you to understand. First, we need 8 separate sprites. Every sprite is nothing but a small square of a different color, and then you pick your starting points on the screen. You need to hide all of them when you start, because when we start we just have 1 or 2 of these shapes, and then slowly they come up on the screen. The background, you can use 2 different backdrops. The backdrop is using this shading pattern. When you try to fill the backdrop, there are these different ways to fill the backdrop. I think we are using one of these here, the swap pattern, where you start with a color and then you end with a color, and in the middle there is a separate color. And the code in the background is very simple. We play a cool music sound until it's done, and then we put it in a loop. So as you are playing this animation, there is always some music playing in the background. And then let's look at animation number 1, sprite number 1. Don't worry too much about so many clones. You just need to understand the basic concepts, and the first concept is something called ghost effect. So ghost effect is when you want to show something on the screen, if you try to move it from 0 to 100, it will disappear. So 100 means not visible, and the opposite, 0, means visible. So let's say you change the ghost effect and you keep moving it by 10, 10, 10, 10. After 10 moves, it will disappear. And then you also are turning degrees so that as it's disappearing, it's looking a little tilted. And then you're also changing in size, which means it's getting smaller and smaller. So if I play it again, observe how the shapes are going in a line, but the clones are getting smaller and smaller, and they are disappearing a little bit. So that's because of this pattern. When I start as a clone, what needs to happen? And then for every square, every sprite, we are starting at a particular direction, and we are going to the middle of the screen in this case, and then we are doing something, repeat 20 times, draw, and then we are again repeat 40 times, create a clone of myself, change the shape a little bit, change the angle a little bit. And when we say create a clone, the clone comes here because it's like when I start as a clone, this code is run, and when this code is run, we start the ghost effect. So all of these clones, all of 40 clones, will have a ghosting effect, and you will see that we keep doing it in a sequence, and that creates this nice pattern. And then this is just the number 1 sprite. If you see, we have sprite 2, sprite 3, sprite 4, and most of them do the same thing. It's just as the timing is separate, and you can do very interesting things. In this case, we are saying go to a different angle, make some patterns. You could do very fancy things here. Play with it, but the main concept is we're using a ghosting effect, and we're creating a lot of clones, changing angle, changing size to create this nice pattern. As you know, these are very advanced projects. You are now on level 8. my goal is to make sure you are building these things on your own. Try to first sit down, spend an hour or two to really figure out how you will build something like this. Try to do it on your own. Only when you're really stuck and you're not able to make progress, we will post the link of this project on Kirat Academy, and you can go into that and see the code. I hope you'll enjoy this project. Bye bye.